Hello, everybody. Welcome to Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza. We're here today to honor the memory of the great Paul Chapman, the Welsh guitar player who started off in Lone Star, was in UFO, was a few other bands, Wasted, a few other bands. And today we've got three special guests. They're here to join us, and two of them actually knew Paul. One's a huge Paul Chapman fan. The other two have actually been in bands with him. So, you guys want to introduce yourselves and how you met Paul, and how you got into UFO. And
Well, I was in Orlando at a club in Orlando, and Paul was there hanging out with some of the guys from Molly Hatchet and Stranger. And I met him backstage. We were back there talking. And I told him, I said, if Phil Mogg ever messes up, I want his job. And he said, can you sing? I said, well, I think so. Yeah, I want it. If I can get his job, I want it. And he asked Ronnie from Stranger, he said, can this guy sing? And Ronnie said, yeah, if he'd have been in town when we hired Greg, he would have been our singer. So a year later, I'm in the club in Orlando partying, and he taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, and there's Paul. He says, you still want that job? I said, yeah. He said, well, how can I audition you? I called Morgan and the rest of the guys because we had just put a band together. Morgan and I had just put a band together. And I called the guys up, and we all met at the rehearsal studio, and we jammed till about 10 in the morning. And
wow.
It was kind of cool. The next day, I'm off to London.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was me, Dave, Paul Chapman, and the guitar player named John Drenning from Crimson Glory. He was in that lineup.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Crimson.
Yeah.
Cool. That's another great band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was that lineup for the jam. And I thought I was going to be in the band with Dave because I thought they needed a drummer, but they didn't need a drummer. They had a guy coming from England, and Paul already had the band basically put together, just needed a vocalist.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get in that lineup. But that's when I first met Paul, too, jamming with him with Dave.
Nice.
And I hadn't talked to him for years, but Dave was touring with him in Europe with Nugent. And tell him some of that stories.
Yeah, just most of the stories with that are Ted. I mean, Paul was kind of mellow back then, but Ted and him kind of did one of these numbers because UFO. Ted used to open for UFO,
right?
And sometimes we were writing a new song, and when we were doing a sound check before a show, we'd go through one of the songs we were writing, and Ted comes on the last time we did one of those, and he's doing our song. And we walk out on the stage, and he goes, hey, how you guys like my new song?
Oh,
yeah, he was trying to steal he was acting like he was going to steal our song. He wasn't really. But the first time I got on stage, he cut my monitors out. I had no monitors for the first three songs, and I'm up there singing, and I can't hear anything, nothing.
Oh, great.
And absolutely nothing. I had zero monitors, and I went back to the sound man. I was pissed. I went, but he puts his hands up. Hey, Ted told me to do it. It wasn't me. That was a pretty funny story.
Did you expect anything less from Ted?
That was fun.
No.
It was pretty funny.
What time period was that, man? Was it like in the 80s or was it
84?
cool?
I think it was back in 84. We were in the Saints and Sinners in 83, 82 and 83.
Yeah.
And then when Saints and Sinners dissolved, we were putting our own band together. And in fact, we were just about ready to start booking. We were about, and and then Paul showed up, and that put a glitch in that.
Yeah, everybody jumped in. So
Yeah.
But
I don't blame them.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice of them to say, yeah, man, it's going to dissolve our band, but they backed me to get the opportunity to do that.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And then I get a call from this guy. He's coming over to tour in the States, and he says, man, we don't have a guitar player. Can you suggest somebody?
Yeah. That was with Killer B out of Sweden. We were coming over to rehearse 2 weeks to do a 60-day show, 42 cities in 60 days with Bullet Boys and Trixie Guns, and Rudy Sarzo was on that tour. They were called Gunzo, and we were doing that tour, and we didn't have a guitar player, and we were starting to rehearse like in 2 days, and Dave says, why don't you call Paul Chapman? And I said, I haven't talked to Paul Chapman since the 80s at your house. I can't call him. He says, oh, I'll call him then. So he calls him up, and he says, he's explained the situation. And he calls me back. Dave calls me back and says, send him some tracks from the new Killer B album. So I did. I sent him 3 tracks. All of a sudden, my phone rings, and he says, yeah, it's Paul Chapman. I'm in. I
Just
said,
like that. You're like,
I
Wow.
said,
did you hear?
oh, I didn't like.
Oh.
We're not going to talk money. We're not going to talk dates. We're not going to talk nothing. No, no, no. I'm in.
He just wanted to get back on stage.
I'm in.
Wow.
I said,
Yeah.
okay. So I called the guys in the band. We got a guitar player, and we
Wow.
went and did that tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm new to that. I'm new to that stuff completely. Today was the first time I listened to that Killer Bee stuff that Paul was on, and it's really good
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah,
So,
It's a great album.
yeah.
He just play.
He could play. He could really play.
No.
And man, oh man, we had some great shows. That's for sure. I mean, it was, for me to be on that stage with him was an honor. It truly was, because he was standing in front of me, and he was just blowing. I could just be drumming there and looking at him and watch everybody being blown away.
Yeah.
The guy
So
was a
on those
monster. He was a
on
monster.
those sets, did you guys just stick to the Killer Bee stuff, or did you like
Yeah,
mix up?
we did.
Yeah.
We did
Okay.
a couple. We did some UFO.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then there's some videos live. If you YouTube Killer Bee, Paul Chapman, you get a bunch of the UFO stuff.
I was
Cool.
watching some today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was definitely an honor to
Yeah.
to perform along with Paul. It
He was funny as shit. Every day was hilarious with Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, the band had a good time, and to say the least. But Paul was the entertainment, even on the bus. He'd fall off the bus.
Yeah.
Like he'd just walk out the door like there was no stairs there. Just boom, fall right in his face, and we're like, oh my god, like he's probably smashed his face and his teeth or whatever. He just gets up, nothing wrong, just keeps walking.
That's how I met him. I was standing next to him.
Tonka.
We were talking, and I hadn't even talked to him yet. I said hi, Paul, and we were talking about four of us talking. He just all of a sudden started falling forward on his face,
Yeah.
and I caught him on the way down and lowered him down so he wouldn't smash his face when he hit.
Yeah.
And he just jumped right back up
Yeah,
and said, "Thanks, man."
yeah.
And that was how it all started.
I mean, how you can be so professional as he was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and do every shot that the people in the crowd sent him.
Yeah.
Was Paul what kind of gear was Paul using around that time, man? Was he still using that BC Rich, or was he
Well, he did. Well, he was using a 50-year anniversary Stratocaster, one of them silver ones. It
Cool,
was
yeah.
actually the bass player, Steve Chikaitis, owned it, and Paul played it. I think the BC Ridge was in hock at the time or something. But he was playing. I had a white Marshall stack. Remember the white Marshall stacks back in the day, and he
Yeah.
played through my stack, and
Yeah.
that's what he played on stage. But
Yeah,
cool?
he had a white BC Rich when he was with Killer Bee, but he had like 6 guitars with him.
Yeah.
Whenever
Whenever I think of Paul, man, I always think of the BC Rich. That's why I got that picture behind me with him.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can see. You know what? I can see his smile every time I think of him. What a great guy! And I got to tell you, he'd get into it, and he'd be telling all his stories and all his jokes about Ozzy and all this shit about everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, he knew everybody, and he'd tell you stories about everybody, and they were hilarious stories. And he'd be telling these jokes and drinking, and his teeth would fly out, and he wouldn't even stop talking and just keep going, and he's got no teeth, and they're on the floor right in front of everybody, and everybody's howling, laughing because he doesn't know his teeth are on the floor.
Oh boy.
Oh man, too
I'm
funny.
grateful to this guy here. I had to write something for Paul because he was very dear to me, still is. He'll always be my friend whether he's here or not. And for him to pull the music off that I needed, first when he started doing it, it was a little mellow, and I said, we're talking about Paul Chapman here. You got to crank it up, dude. You got to give it a little heavier action here, and he pulled it off, and I'm grateful to Rob for doing that.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
impressed the fact that like when I heard it, the first rough on it, I heard the lyrics, and like every band I knew
Yeah.
of that Paul was in is in those lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't, and unless you know that,
Yeah.
you don't realize that he's got all those lyrics flowing in, all those band names flowing in with actually the song.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I thought
And
that was really cool. I listened to them sitting there. Okay, what band is gonna be next? I'm like kind of like
Yeah, every band's in there.
yeah.
Even when Dave wrote, he landed down in Gator Country, had
Yeah.
to find
That was-
family.
that was
Paul was in a
clever,
band
yeah.
called Gator.
Yeah, he was
Country.
in Gator Country too.
He was in Gator Country down here.
Madman, DOA.
Yeah.
Those were all bands we did.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great of you guys to do that for Paul, man. You
Yeah.
can tell you really cared about him, and
Yeah, yeah. And his family, I know his family real well. I'm real close to them too, and
Yeah.
that's always good.
And his daughter Brittany keeps in touch with me and
me.
and
That's
Dave,
good.
and you know, it's great to be a part of that family. You know, that really love Paul. You
And
know.
it's good
Yeah.
that you've kept in touch with them and remained close too, right? Like that's
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
very close relationship. You know, I mean, some of the shit that we had to go through, and Paul was right there. You know, if I needed him, you know,
Yeah.
and his door was always open to me. You know.
It was because of him that I had the opportunity to get on the big stage and do the things that I got to do. It was because of Paul.
Yeah.
And I'll always remember and respect that
Yeah.
deep
Yeah.
inside. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
great.
You hear stuff like that, man, it just makes me appreciate the music that he did and everything
yeah.
that much more, you know? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Well, in the
Yeah.
song where it says he got in the band when he was 11, these are stories he told me.
Yeah.
That he was 11 years old. He started his first band. You know, he got with a couple of the guys, and from then on, he was hooked. He was into it. He couldn't get away from it. It was his blood flowed for rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's Welsh, and I'm Welsh.
Yeah, and I got my ancestry is Welsh. It really is.
He's just trying to be part of the
No, I'm
team.
telling you the truth.
So Robbie, how did you get into his music? Like when did you first hear his
Can you say
Paul
that again? I didn't.
when did you first get into Paul's music?
I was a huge UFO fan,
See like
and when I was a teenager, they came out with the live album, and Paul was on that. It was recorded in Chicago, and I was born and raised in the Chicago area.
okay.
So that was at the Chicago Auditorium, I believe, and I just loved that.
He's
And
getting
then-
ready.
And then I read somewhere in some magazine that Michael Schenker had left UFO and Paul was taking over, and I'm thinking, well, what's it going to sound like now? And it actually, to me, it sounded better. I'm like, oh my, it didn't miss a beat. Yeah, because what is that?
No place to run. He's got
There's no place
Yeah,
to run, yeah.
Yeah. So then, about that time, because of music and stuff, I started getting into music and started playing guitar. And that was,
Yeah.
man, that had to be 1980. I graduated high school in 81. I'm showing my age now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not telling you when I graduated.
So just year after year.
I'm surprised you went to school.
And then I decided to move to Florida, and I wanted to get back into music. And then I got called for an audition through this stupid app called Band Mix. And no, you don't ever want to use a musician off a Band Mix because it's everybody that can't make it in a band. That's what I've learned. So,
Yeah.
but I got called for an audition, and this was the singer, Dave. I didn't know Dave, and I just brought my little practice amp, and we were goofing around, and nothing came of that band. But I kept thinking about that singer, and I looked him up and said, "Hey, you want to do something?" And I said, I'm sick of cover bands. And I was in a Kenny Chesney tribute band for a while, and it was okay, but it's not writing a song. It's not being creative, which I was in original bands all my life, played very little covers. So we just started writing, Dave and I, with Morgan would give us advice, and Morgan played the drums on it for us. And we mixed it down, and we didn't even really have a band. And next thing I know, we have a 10-song album.
Yeah.
But getting back to how I feel as a drummer, seeing it from outside the box, you're talking about Schenker, and like Schenker, sure, you know, everybody knows he's a fantastic player, and you're comparing him to Paul Chapman.
There's no
Now here's the comparison from my view is Paul Chapman plays for the band, and he plays for the music, and
100%,
guys like Schenker, you know, they're great, fantastic players like Yngwie Malmsteen, but they're not playing for the band. They're playing for themselves.
Right. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, Morgan,
And-
I was gonna bring that up, Morgan, about this album, Wild, Willing, and Innocent. I think the same thing. You know, he's playing to the songs. That's what makes the,
and like
the album so good.
when I was in Killer Bee, we had several different, you know, fantastic musicians in the band, from the Cranberries and from Alias and from, you know, we had the lead guitar player from the band Europe, Final Countdown Europe.
John Hurra.
Key Marcello was in the band
Key
for an
Marcello,
album.
right, yeah.
And he didn't really play for the band either. He was playing for Key Marcello because he was trying to sell himself, you know, with Easy Action band that he had going. You know, I mean, everybody's got, like you say, it's a sub, what's the word you call it? When some reasons behind the scenes where you're trying to
Nefarious, or there's a hidden agenda.
hidden agenda. And when players play for themselves and not play for the song, then to me, I hear it.
It's obvious.
Like it's obvious. And like if I being a drummer, if I don't play for the song, then the song doesn't feel the right way to the people that are listening to it.
Right.
If I'm doing Neil Peart to this music that I'm in now,
Yeah,
you're going to say, oh, that guy, he's playing like Neil Peart. But I don't want to play like Neil Peart anymore. I want to, and then I got Bonham. I don't want to play like Bonham. So you got feel, on one hand, you got technique on the other hand. And I'd like to think that I'm somewhere in the middle, of that blending. So, and then very dynamic and very, you play for the music. It's not what you play, it's what you don't play.
Right.
So when you listen to Johnny Reb, the songs are simple, and that's the reason why they are simple, because we're pushing the melody,
yeah.
which is the most important thing in a song,
Yeah.
So anyway, did I speak too much?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, if you're sitting there doing all these wild drum rolls in a song that's supposed to be a simple beat, it's like, what the hell? You threw off the whole song.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's when Dave handed me when Dave approached me early on when we started writing. We started writing in August of 2023 together, and we were working on some stuff, and he comes in, and kind of a weird mood, like really humble. I'm like, "Oh, what's up? You all right?" And he hands me these words and says, "I really want to write this song for Paul Chapman." I go, "Oh, Paul, yeah, okay. You talked a lot about Paul." And he goes, "I've asked many other of my friends that were guitar players around the world. Nobody would step up and help me write this song. Do you think you could do something with this?" So right away, I start listening to all Paul's music, and I was trying to emulate the intro of the song to one of Paul's songs in Lone Star. That's what Dave yells at me. He goes, "No, I just want the song to kick ass." I'm like, "Okay, I'll cut out that weird beginning." But when I was reading the words, you could see it's hard to put it into words what Dave was saying, but I could tell how much Dave loved Paul.
Yeah.
And then so I had to write a song to match that emotion and that grit. And then came the solo part, and he's like, "You better write a kick-ass solo."
Oh, and that solo on there that he does
Like, oh,
is the best solo I heard in years.
That's
like,
great.
Yeah. I mean, all his solo is great, but that song in particular is like, you couldn't have predicted a more perfect solo that you can actually hear in your head, and it comes perfect.
Yeah.
Not
like Paul would have played it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that
how-
came from studying Paul and what he would do and how he would use mixolydian, and he would do some sweeps.
Yeah.
He would do a sweep and a pregio, but he wouldn't do a bunch of them. He'd just do a quick sweep and into something melodic. I'm like, man, this guy's a genius. So I had to, my approach to that solo in Tonka was phrasing and melody, and that you could hum the solo like you could with Paul solos. You could sing his solo.
Yeah.
And I'm totally honored to be part of this band, to have this day for Paul. I mean, 5 years, and it's his birthday to boot,
Yeah,
and I love the guy that, and I think this is terrific, and I can't wait to play the show on the 28th in Melbourne. We're going to do the tribute to Paul, the memorial, and we're going to play that song Tonka.
Okay.
So everybody should listen to it before we get there, so you know the word.
And that'll be your first. Sorry, that'll be your first public performance of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. First live. That'll be
First time.
That's actually our first live performance ever as Johnny Reb.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole show is
Awesome.
a tribute to him. So.
Yeah. And yeah.
How cool is it that all three of you guys kind of came together because of Paul? When you think about it, in a way, just in different ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. UFO music it was huge in my life growing up as a teenager.
I have a feeling Paul's here right now with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's
Awesome.
probably doing bunny ears behind our heads and we can't see him.
That's right.
Photo bombing us. if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
You want to share any really good, funny stories? And
We don't have any PG stuff.
that's
No.
fine.
No. But he did pull his pants down and film that video.
Oh my God, you can get into that story if you want.
We were in Nashville, Tennessee, and we were at this huge building, and I mean huge. I've never seen a bigger building in my life. And we were filming that video in this where they rehearse for concerts and stuff. That all the big bands go in there, and the band was doing some footage in there and stuff. The singer was doing his footage and stuff. This is for Killer Bee, Joystick Warrior. And so me and Paul were having a good time drinking some beers and having a good old time. And they were kind of getting irritated by Paul and I. So they said, "Here, take this camera." It was a GoPro, and go outside and just film, because we were standing on the hill of this huge building, and it overlooked Nashville, all the lights. It was beautiful, and it was just a big, huge parking lot. And so we went outside to film footage, and I gave the camera to Paul, thinking I was doing the right thing. Thinking he knew more what to film than I did, and sure he did. He pulled down his pants and pointed the GoPro at his private parts and just started dancing, dancing, and dancing.
Yeah.
And then he kept doing it. And I just stood there drinking a beer. And then after he finished, we went in and he handed in the camera and said, "There you go. We took some great footage of Nashville." They weren't too happy when they got back to Sweden and saw the footage.
Oh, I can imagine. We can't use this. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Wait a minute, you referenced footage. Is there a reason why you said footage?
Yeah, we could have called him tripod.
I mean, it's his birthday and all, but I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got a lot of pictures of us on stage, and you can tell the man has no problem with endowment.
It was funny.
Well, we just attracted a large female audience.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I sent you some funny pictures of him. I don't know if you're gonna
Okay.
use them, or I don't know if you're gonna use them or not. But him doing his laundry and just some stupid shit. But
Do
he
you
was a
guys have
character.
any,
No matter what he was doing, it was always an event.
Yeah,
do you
it was
guys
fun
have
hanging
any
out.
favorite? Do you guys have any favorite songs that you recorded with him, or just in general, or any that you can name?
He was doing all the guitar work separately from me. I was doing the beds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool.
was doing the bed tracks, and when I was done, I was done. I didn't hear. I wasn't even in the room when he was doing his guitar work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you think when you do a studio work. It's not like you're all hanging out together.
Yeah.
You don't know what the song sounds like until it's done.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
true.
that's what we were recording. Okay.
He stayed at my house for a while in Altamont Springs, Florida, and I was in on the shitter, and he came right in there, opened the door, and said, "Hey, I need some lyrics to this." He starts playing this tune. I'm on the shitter. I'm going, "Dude, give me a minute, will you?" And he stayed in there, and we wrote the song "Madman" that we did live on stage.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, dude.
That's some good shit.
Wow. All right. I don't think
I
we got
forgot
much
about
more.
that.
Oh, that's
Well, I
great.
appreciate you having us on. It's
Yeah.
Of course. Do you want to talk about the band at all, or just
Oh, the what?
the band?
We'll let
Johnny
Rob
Reb?
talk about. We'll let Rob do that. Talk about Johnny Reb a little
Johnny
bit.
Reb. What do you want
Yeah.
me to say about Johnny Reb?
Tell it like it is, brother.
It's just songs the way I feel music should have been written, or where Southern rock should have progressed. If you didn't still have, if Leonard Skinner and Molly Hatchet were not still touring, playing the same old songs, which are great songs that I love. That's the reason. One of the reasons I play guitar is I love Skinner, ZZ Top, Boston
Yeah.
Foreigner, Journey,
Yeah.
Styx, Cheap
Everybody.
Trick, you name it, Eddie Van Halen. That's why when you listen to my solos, you're just like, oh, he sounds like that. It's you put all that music in a blender. That's what you get me. It's what I grew up listening to. But
Right.
I feel like Johnny Reb is where Southern rock would have gone if there's more Southern rock bands, that have that drive,
right.
that storytelling in the lyrics. Every one of our songs has a story in it. It's not just mindless lyrics.
Yeah. Just need
Yeah.
need newer tunes, because
Yeah.
I mean, when I was drumming for Molly Hatchet, I loved the drumming to that stuff live, and and the people, thousands of people would show up in front of us, and they still loved it.
Mhm.
And I'm not the drummer from Molly Hatchet, but I was in Molly Hatchet,
Yeah.
and they were showing up. I was like, holy cow, what a following that band has.
Right.
But nothing
So-
was ever released to, they ran out of
Yeah.
steam. You know what I'm saying? We're going
Yeah.
with that. But there's nobody coming out that's doing, I think, the right thing with the Southern rock direction, with a little edge. There's an edge
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it's a little bit more aggressive, And people say,
Yeah.
well, you're really not Southern rock. It's like, well, we're farther south than Jacksonville. So there's that. We're farther south than Gainesville.
Yeah.
So there's that. So yeah, we're Florida. We're Southern rock, and it is Southern rock. I sent the album to my bass player in Chicago. I haven't talked. He hasn't heard anything I've done in a while. And I sent him the album, and he called me over the weekend and choked up, like, man, where did you get all that? Where did that come from? It's like, Florida does that to you. I've been in Florida since 2017, and it gets in you. It gets in your soul, in your skin. When you move to Florida, you turn into a Floridian. You can't help it. Just it gets in you. Like,
Yeah.
Morgan's from, where are you from?
Oh, I won't admit that
Yeah,
anymore.
but he's in Florida. This guy's in Florida. It's in. I was showing you the moss on the trees. Remember? It's like, you're in Florida when you got moss hanging off the trees.
That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, the Johnny Reb music is, there's nothing fake about it.
That's right.
It's just raw.
Yeah.
Mostly life story stuff
Life stories
we've
in your
experienced.
face.
Yeah, it's real.
It's freaking, it's real. It's
Yeah.
real. And it was, the music was recorded in Pro Tools, but nothing was copy and pasted. We recorded it like
Everything.
analog tape. When we hit start,
Nice.
we played it straight through. If you made a mistake, you stopped and played it over, because I wanted the feel. And that's why that music feels real, because it was played from beginning to end.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's a
That's
great thing
awesome.
you guys are doing, keeping Southern rock alive, because there's not a lot of bands
No.
really doing that anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Only tribute bands that are
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
copy stuff, but they don't have any original stuff.
Right.
And what a,
Yeah.
and there couldn't be a better name for a Southern rock band than Johnny Reb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It kind of says it all.
Yeah, it's a shame. The genre kind of went away, right? It was, for whatever reason, that didn't last too long. It seems like after the whole Skinner tragedy, it just kind of like cooled
Right.
down
Yeah,
a little bit
faded out.
for whatever reason. The genre itself just kind of faded, but it's cool to see bands trying to bring it back. And
Yeah.
And you guys are picking it up past what happened there, Yeah.
Yeah.
And our other guitar player who's not here today, Rex Rogers, he was in with Travers for years.
Yeah.
Pat Travers band.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So and all the guys in this band are great players, and we gel perfect. It's a good feeling when you're playing. It's really good, and then the people are gonna feel that. They're gonna acknowledge that. They know how we're feeling. I mean, if I go up there, and you're gonna know how I'm feeling. If I'm angry, we're a death metal Southern rock band.
Death metals.
That'll be the
Death
day
Southern.
Morgan didn't take his meds.
Forgot
my meds.
All right.
But you guys seem to all get along too. Like, that's an important thing, right? Like, it's not going to work if you don't get along.
Well, I've known this guy for 45 years,
There you go.
and I still like him.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys 100% genuine. You can tell just talking to you guys you are,
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a real brotherhood. Really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
And with Johnny Reb, we're trying to erase that invisible line. Like when you come to a concert and you see the stage kind of separates you from the audience, like people are looking up and you're looking down. We're really intentionally trying to not have that. So we're very approachable. And so wherever we go, we made up little postcards, and everywhere we go, we talk to people and give them a postcard and talk to us, and they can contact us directly. We're on Facebook. We have Facebook profiles. We don't hide. We're right there. We're approachable.
Yeah.
Oh,
And everybody's loving the music, I mean, that's the bottom line. I wouldn't be in the band if it wasn't. I mean, I love these guys to death, but I listened to the music, and it was because of the music that I said, okay, I'm into this.
Yeah.
I'm into doing this because of the music.
Yeah.
If the music wasn't there, then friends are friends, but I get off on the music itself. When I heard the music and I loved it, I would have bought the album anyway,
Yeah.
We're going to charge you double.
Yeah, but he would have charged me double.
Yes.
Like the last band I was in, they charged me double for everything.
Hey, they let you in the band.
They let me in the band, and I had to pay for my own T-shirts. Yeah, okay. Let's not go there. We won't go there.
We will not.
No.
So so the song came out just yesterday, right? I guess technically yesterday at midnight.
What, Tonka?
Technically this morning, I guess, if you want.
It
Came out today.
It dropped out at midnight. So
midnight.
it was no accident. We released the song on June 9th.
Oh yeah, it was on purpose.
That was
of course.
Right. It was released on the right day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
of course.
talked about how, and actually all the songs were released. If you go back and look at the releases, they were all released on dates that tied together with the songs.
Okay,
So Born a Rebel was released on Inauguration Day, 2025. And then our song Riding was released just before, a couple weeks before Daytona Bike Week.
Okay.
Meant to Be was released on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's so clever.
Sweet Mama Jambalaya was released on Fat Tuesday for Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
My dad's a coon ass from Louisiana, so I'm half coon ass. So people were like, where do you get your sense of humor and you're playing? And I was like, well, I'm
Pay it
kinda
forward
mixed
on
up.
Easter.
I grew up in Chicago, but I was raised by a bunch of Southern, and my dad's from Louisiana, so I'm all messed up.
Yeah, pay it forward.
Yeah, Pay It Forward. That was on
Easter.
Wow.
No,
And our last song that hasn't come out yet is going to come out on Friday night, July 4th.
Yeah, It Hurts
Okay.
came on, and we released It Hurts that Dave wrote, which is probably the hardest song that Dave, when we were singing it, he gave me a song with him and an acoustic singing, and I played it for my wife Ann, and she started crying. I said, well, I can't write a song that makes the fans cry. We're gonna have to turn this into an anthem. So then I worked on it and I played it for Dave. He goes, what the hell is this? I go, this is It Hurts. He goes, that sounds nothing like my song. I said, we'll play the acoustic to it. He goes, oh, it's the same chords. I go, yeah, I just played it like a Southern rocker.
Yeah, right.
So It Hurts came on Memorial Day because it's a song about losing people you love, and then one of those people that Dave lost was Paul Chapman.
Yeah.
And then I think Dave lost like 5 people he loved dearly in a very short period.
About 3 months, I lost 5 very, very close people to me, including my brother, who was like a twin. So yeah.
And then Paul was in that, and so Dave wrote It Hurts from that, and great song. And then you got Paul Chapman from that too.
Yeah.
And then Friday night's coming out on the first Friday of July 4th. That's our last song. And that's just a good old fashioned shit kicking song about playing guitar and drinking moonshine. And well, you'll hear the lyrics and you'll get it.
Yeah. It's called Friday Night. It'll be out on Friday. So
That's perfect. That was just very clever of you to do that too. Like,
that's this guy. This is our marketing guy right here.
it's a marketing genius.
It's just called clever smart assness.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be the manager too.
Well, yeah, I managed to get in trouble all the time. I'll tell you that.
It's all who you hang out with.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna go eat some pizza.
Yeah.
You guys want to have some pizza? We'll save you a slice. Come on down from Canada.
So yeah, thanks guys for doing this. Like, this is an honor to have you guys on here, and
Thanks
Thank
for coming
you,
on.
man.
Pleasure. We had a lot of fun.
and
A lot of
course, we're gonna. I don't know if you want to stick around, but we're gonna play the song. We're gonna play Tonka, the song, an ode to Paul Chapman.
Okay, I'll be eating pizza
Yeah,
for Paul.
I know. Play it.
Paul
Play it.
Pizza. All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming
Thank
on,
you.
guys.
Have a
Thanks,
good day.
guys.
Nice to see you. Bye.
We'll see you around like a donut.
So yeah, this is Tonka, an ode to Paul Chapman. It's a great, touching song. If you listen carefully to the lyrics, you'll hear different bands mentioned that Paul was in. So just enjoy.
Since he was just a lad, a day without his rock and roll would have driven this boy mad. He picked up a guitar and at 11 joined the band. Rock and roll was in his blood and there was magic in his hands. He played in front of thousands. It was the music, not the fame. This Lone Star had a purpose and rock and roll was its name. Sometimes you hit rock bottom when you're out there paying your dues. But with the passion and talent this guy had, there was no way he could lose. His effort wasn't wasted, and he moved up from Skid Row. This young Welsh lad focused hard and made it to the show. just like a madman. Slowing down was DOA. He landed down in Gator Country, had a fine family, but he still played like a killer bee on a hit of PCP. Rock and roll is bigger than life, it was his destination. He touched a lot of hearts and inspired a generation. His memory will linger on, 'cause we won't let it die. Think of him with a smile, he's jamming in the sky. Sometimes you hit rock bottom when you're out there paying your dues, but with the passion and talent this guy had, there was no way he could lose. His effort wasn't wasted, and he moved up from Skid Row. This young Welsh lad focused hard and made it to the show. He earned that middle name. He left this world too early, but he's still here just the same. He played his guitar loud and proud, it is his legacy. He was my friend till the end, and my friend he'll always be. It was his middle name. He left this world too early, but he's still here just the same. He played his guitar loud and proud, it is his legacy. He was my friend till the end, and my friend he'll always be.
Finally.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. I
Yep.
have to admit, I was getting a little choked up listening to those words, and we're in here eating
Yeah.
pizza now.
Yeah. It was a great tribute, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Hey, thanks for having us, and really
Good
appreciate
luck
it.
with everything, and good luck with the band, man.
Oh yeah. of
Hey,
course.
message me in a couple of days. All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoy your night and
All right.
enjoy the,
Thank you.
enjoy the pizza, and thank you guys for doing this.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Yep. We'll see you.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Take care.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks everybody for watching this. This was fun to do, and three great guys. You could tell they're just having fun, and their love for Paul shined through. So
Yeah. Very down to earth.
very down to earth, like I said, with the whole postcard thing. Most bands aren't gonna say, yeah, come contact us. Are you kidding? You're not gonna get a chance in hell. Most bands are just saying, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it was,
Yep.
three great guys, just so funny. Oh, that was
Yep.
really fun. So yeah, what a
For
great
sure.
song. That good heavy riff in there. And,
Yeah.
oh,
I
yeah.
wish them all the luck, all the
Oh, yeah.
success and everything.
Yeah. So rest in peace.
Go out and play
Mogs.
some Chapman and Johnny Reb and
Yeah, some Chapman, Johnny Reb. Yeah. Yeah, it was a great heavy song too.
yeah.
And you really listen to the lyrics. You can just it's really well written. They didn't just
Yep.
mention the band names the way they mention them.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
they added it
he
into
went
the song to
like,
make it work.
yeah, like a story. Like he went down to Gator Country, but the band was actually Gator Country, and
Yeah.
he left from Skid Row because he was in that band Skid Row. He replaced Gary Moore. I don't
Okay, he
think
said something about wasted. I remember he said wasted.
Yeah, it mentions all the bands in there. So, really
awesome.
fitting tribute. Yeah, it was really cool for them to do that. So,
Yep.
so yeah, if you're in Melbourne, then go to that tribute and check them out. So yeah, and yeah, you can. The song is on iTunes. It's on Spotify. So go check that out.
Yeah.
It's called
Yeah,
Tonka,
go support him.
which was, we forgot to mention. Yeah, Tonka was actually his nickname, and
Yep.
yeah, everyone called him Tonka. And yeah, so the song is called Tonka, an ode to Paul Chapman. So yeah,
Great
always
underlooked guitarist, man. I'm glad we did this.
go check that out. Yeah, he's just a great guitar player. Yeah, he replaced some good ones, like replaced Gary Moore and replaced Michael Shanker. So
He made it work both times.
of course, yeah. So thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, this was really fun to do. And yeah, thanks for being here, and we'll be back next week with our actually another tribute. We're gonna be sadly doing a tribute to Jeff Halverson, who we lost. He was always in our chats here and was a staple on the Contrarians. He was and appeared on Grant's Rock Warehouse one time on a Friday night chat. It's my first time I was ever actually on a video, so gonna just like show a few clips of Jeff on the Contrarians where he mentions like some of his favorite songs and stuff, and then we'll do a second part where it's just listening to some of those songs that he talked about. So that'll be a cool way to, I think, honor Jeff. And yeah, because I was gonna there's a band called Witchfind that he really liked. I was gonna message him to maybe do a Witchfind show, and found out that way. So that was kind of sad to find out that way, but yeah, it's life. But at least you can do this for him. So
yeah, do a little tribute for him for sure.
Thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
A good rest of the week, guys.
Enjoy.